Lawrence,
Yes. Hi. Hello,
we
everybody. Hello, Arne.
hello. Yes, welcome everybody. Check out the news site for all the tactics that we're going to talk about today because you can replay them. This is an active training, as I've mentioned a couple of times before, and I'm really looking forward to this. So, what do we have on the program today, Lawrence?
Yeah. So, the past session or two, the position we've been looking at, even though they've been very interesting and very inspiring with lots of unusual kind of plays and ideas, today I thought we would do something a bit more standardized, a bit more common.
Great.
So I picked a bunch of positions which could, a variation of which could easily appear in your own games, in the reader's games. So we're going to start with the game Foulville against Thomas from Citrus 1981. Ironically, of course, Citrus has now one of the top open tournaments in the world.
True.
I didn't even know in the 80s there was action there. I don't know if
Me
this is a
neither.
club game. I don't know if this is a club game or if this is a tournament game, and I have to also admit I don't know the players. Nevertheless, that's kind of not the point here.
Yeah,
We're
it's not
focusing
relevant.
on the position. So let's get to grips with this position.
Okay.
Now, it's obvious that things have gone very well for white, right? When we think about how we describe positions, I tend to prefer the Silman way of thinking about chess positions, which is the imbalance technique. In other words, you break down the position per component. And when I look at this position here, I see two clear things that is in white's favor. He's got a huge space advantage.
Yeah.
His minor pieces are much more active than black's. However, black is still solid, and so there are no, absolutely, there's not the first move is not, comes to you in 10 milliseconds, right? There are a number of possible candidate moves here for white. I can see at least 4, for example.
Whoa, okay. I could just figure out like 2 so far.
Okay, well, I mean, just to give you an idea of candidate moves, clearly we're on the attack here with white. One candidate move is to play, just say, for example, Queen G4, setting up this. Ideas like Knight H5, ideas like Knight F4. There are lots of sensible moves in this position. But of course, as we've been trying to train you guys at home for weeks now, the way and which moves we start with does make a difference. So there are moves here that we should start with and try and work those out first. Now, and those moves are, of course, forcing moves. That's what I'm getting at. Those are the forcing times. Now, there are no checks. So the next ones are either threats or captures.
Yes.
So what are the 2 moves, Arne, that you have in mind here?
I will tell you in a moment. For you at home, it is time to stop the video.
Yes.
Put on the thinking for a couple of minutes or even longer. Think about your candidate moves, think them through. You have all the time in the world to solve those tactics. I mean, TRENT'S tactics are kind of some challenging ones, right? But it always feels really, really good to figure them out on your own. So give it a shot.
Yeah.
If you give up at one point or you think you have the right solution, unpause the video and look for our description because Lawrence is titled player since many years and he knows his tactics better than a lot of other players. So yeah. Okay, so my candidate moves were one of them you named already, which is just, it looks very obvious. This is why Queen to G4 is something to think of, but then the knight goes to F6 and
for example, or a knight or a bishop can come to G5, perhaps trying to exchange some pieces, which clearly helps black as the defending side. And again, it's not the move we should start with.
Yes.
So what are the 2 moves we should start with here?
So I thought about a different move, though. And this is because it just looks as if it will open some space, which is the pawn going to F6. Now, obviously black has 3 options to take back. Because,
Well,
even a
2
fourth
options.
option after all, since, 2 options. But the bishop could even, in the worst case, maybe go back to f8, which is,
Possibly.
yeah.
But we can already dismiss that, right? Because we can see that we're opening the F file with
Yeah.
deadly effect. So here and queen.
That would work out pretty well. True. Yeah. So there's then there's the bishop or the knight takes, and then the follow
So this is where we start, right?
Yes.
This is the first line. And the reason why we do this, and again, people might say, well, why do you start with? The reason is because you save yourself so much time, because if it works, you don't have to analyze other stuff. That's the whole point. You save yourself an immense amount of time.
Yeah.
Now, as you said, black has only really got 2 captures. We can immediately rule out g takes f6. You don't have to spend any time on this move, because it's clear that if that's black's move, apart from the fact you can take on h6, there is probably a number of moves here that just win immediately. Moves like queen here and queen takes here, or or knight here. You just destroy the structure.
At one point, you probably have this kind of experience in your chess world that you see that this has to work. I mean, it always can turn out it doesn't work after all, but it's in most of the cases you just see like that this cannot go wrong for white here at the point. Yeah, and pawn taking on f6 just feels like wrong.
Right. Now, this is the situation, and black has got 2 moves. So let's start with the most natural move is this one. So really what we should do then is actually start with the least natural move to see if we can refute it.
Yeah. Okay?
So bishop takes f6. Now.
So I think, my idea, I'm not sure if it's possible, but this opens up to a couple of moves. I just have to figure out the right order. And on the problem, of course, about all of this is that I might just win a pawn instead of having a great attack. Now,
well, then what you do is, so that's such a common situation, right? Where you analyze a line and you're like, oh, I've won a pawn, I'm better, or I might even be technically winning.
Yeah.
You know, I'm better. And then you tell yourself, okay, I've got that as you would say in Hamburg, Versicherung, right? You've got your Versicherung.
That's
your insurance.
Good. Insurance, yeah.
You've got your insurance policy. When you've got those variations with the extra pawn, you've got your insurance policy.
Yes.
So
the same applies, which we had in a couple of videos below, because they're all timeless. You can always watch them. They're in the links below, of course. When there's a threefold repetition or I'm missing the word. Checks, like endless checks. What am I saying? If
perpetual checks.
Perpetual checks. Thanks. Yeah. So this is often also occurring. Yeah. So next step would be taking the knight on h7, I guess, with the check, because you immediately have to take back.
Okay, so we can start with that. So bishop takes h7. Oops, sorry.
King takes back. But that, of course, leads to not working what I planned with taking on h6 with the bishop. Actually, yes, it does, because the king cannot take back.
King can't take.
That would be a very nice checkmate.
But at the same time, black might say, okay, you've won your pawn back. Is this position the end of the world for black?
That's the problem, yeah.
I'm not entirely sure, but nonetheless, we should definitely try to improve it via the move order, right?
Yes.
So.
Okay. Now what happens if we take on h6 first?
Exactly. What if we take on h6 first?
So,
that's precisely the point. What if we, because now if pawn takes bishop, we can play your move. Bishop takes knight check.
Yes.
And after king takes knight, white probably has got actually more than one move here. For example, taking on f6 for sure gives white the safe advantage. After takes, this looks like a glorious position for white. Rook af1 is coming next. Knight h5, whatever.
There's some nice moves, yeah.
Yeah. And
the insurance is set.
The insurance is set. Now, what I would be trying to make work here, very simply, is can we play this move?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, pardon me. That wasn't your Facebook, that was my Facebook, but now it's off. Yeah, knight to h5.
And the answer is probably this does work. I mean, intuitively, I can double check because I haven't actually checked this variation, but it feels as though this works. The only thing is after bishop g7, originally, I wanted to carry on with the natural queen takes f7, but maybe here there's queen g5 or something like that. Then knight f6 check. Even this looks dangerous, and even just taking, right?
That's
even just
very nice, yes.
I mean, this, you would feel a move like rook here, perhaps, threatening mate, right?
This has to be one of those things which are really good.
Yeah. So this, on bishop takes f6, you find bishop takes h6 through redoing the move order, and then you realize that, oh, well, firstly, I haven't even accepted. Now, he doesn't have to take on h6. But if he doesn't,
another problem, yeah.
Yeah, well, if he doesn't take on h6, he's got a huge problem here because our follow-up is very simple. We're going to play knight h5 on the next move.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
And he can't even do something like knight g5 because once again, f7 is hanging.
That won't work either.
And it's some kind of mate will occur.
That's nice. Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah. Excellent.
Some kind of checkmate has to occur. So you then go back and say, well, okay, after f6, he's really only got one move then. To avoid all of these tactics, he has to take with the knight. Okay, now it's back over to us. So how do we...
So this is the problem, of course, which I couldn't get through yet. Now, can I ask you quickly, we will analyze this through, but is this on the right way or not?
This is the right way, correct.
Fantastic. I'm happy.
Is the right way.
Oh, wow,
yes,
okay.
It is the right
so
way.
Then it is time for you to pause again. If you also have been that far already, of course, then you can just keep on watching us. But now, time to pause and think of a nice combination. Okay, so, of course, now I finally, so this is what we have done already all the time. We play detective. And we are finding clues and moves and variations and a way to, get closer to the position. Because for now, we know that if the knight is going away, we can take on f7, which is kind of the whole purpose. It was the idea of that I had pushing the pawn forward, opening this line, which looks so powerful. Now, if we move our knight to h5 once again, this looks tempting,
Yeah,
but is
it looks
too slow?
Tempting. Sorry?
But is it too slow?
Well, that's the question. So when you ask yourself, that's a really good question. So when you ask yourself, is my move too slow given the position? The answer to that is, well, does my opponent have a decent counter attack or counter punch?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm looking at this position and I see very, very quickly that black, it's not as if black has got some amazing resource here, right? All of his pieces are, these pieces are very passive. How can he have a direct refutation of this move? And a lot of the time in the attack, when we are attacking, yes, there are occasions where you have to be very precise and find a very specific move.
Yeah.
But it's all about being able to judge your opponent's resources and what he has available in the position. And it's absolutely clear. I mean, he's only got one check, which, by the way, can be parried by a bishop move, and he would have to move the queen again. So it's just very obvious that in this position, he doesn't have a move. And this is clearly a good move because you're bringing a piece into an attack. You are looking at either removing a defender, but you're also, again, looking at this structure here. I mean, the sacrifices to blow open black in this position here are what's the word? They are endless, basically, right?
Yes.
So that's effectively the state of play, and knight h5 is the best move. So well done. I mean, this is obvious, and also it's obviously a good move because you can't take the knight because of queen takes pawn. So it's a tactical refutation for this move.
Yes.
Okay, so what can black do? And the answer is not very much. Okay, let's say, well, the f7 pawn has been a problem. Let's say black tries to defend. Okay.
Good. Now the follow-up might be, well, I
think of the forcing moves.
Yeah, so there's two moves in my head at the moment. It's bishop takes h6 again. And the other one would be, this is a bit more weird, but knight taking on g7.
Right. Now, those are two absolutely important candidate moves. They are thematic sacrifices looking at removing key protection for the black king.
Yeah.
You should, however, look at knight takes f6.
Yeah.
Because it's removing a defender. It's a forcing move.
That's right.
And after bishop takes f6, take things from there.
So once again, we have the bishop taking on h6.
Yeah, so we have bishop takes h6.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now here, for example, after g takes h6, assuming you want to go queen takes f6, we get exactly that scenario again, where this is kind of your insurance policy. Positionally speaking, after king g7 rook f1, this position is a catastrophe for black, right?
The knight goes to g3 to h5.
Exactly. It might even be losing straight up for black, right? You might win a pawn and so on and so forth. It might even be better than that. But again, this is what I would say is like my insurance policy. I can see that this works. Perhaps after takes bishop takes h6, black's best move, however, isn't to take on h6 here and find something else. Maybe that's the way.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really, black is in a terrible situation.
Yeah, black is in
that position, or this move just makes it clear.
Yeah,
because black can move so little at the moment. It really requires some work.
Exactly, and that's kind of the absolute worst case scenario for us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
let's
now have a look at the moves you first suggested. Then.
Okay, so let's take on h6 first. I guess it runs into a very similar variation again.
Well, now it's a little bit different, right? Because e6 is defended. But you're saying, after g takes h6, we might get... But then... Yeah, and after queen g3 check, which is the only difference, right? Trying to mate black.
Oh.
He has... Yeah, but he's got this resource.
That's a resource, yeah.
Check. I guess we have to take. And now maybe he can try and, hold the fort with bishop g5. It's probably still decent for white, but it definitely doesn't feel as losing as it should.
Yeah.
Right? So we can reject that. Okay. So we go on to the next.
So then we have the candidate which looks the most convincing to me, which is taking on g7 with the knight. Right.
Now, knight takes g7, an absolutely classic sacrifice.
And now I even see why it's really good.
Okay. Well, he has to take. We know that's his only move, right? Otherwise, h6. Okay, so king takes g7.
So what's the follow-up, ladies and gentlemen at home? Pause the video if you do not know yet and really get into this. It's important. Tactics are freakingly important in chess. And yeah, we're doing this training anyway. So my idea is, which I just saw now, though, I have to admit, I first saw this move of the knight taking on g7. And this is one of this experience things. When you like tactics, you figure out this is a move I have played 5 to 10 times in my life before. And often enough, it worked out quite well because of that. And then you think on, okay, so why and what and how? Now, I thought about taking on h6 immediately, but there is a better move, in my opinion.
Okay.
A far better move.
Okay.
Now I'm seeing the rebunk again, too. Anyway, I thought about queen going to f4. Actually, queen f4 or e3. I don't know what is worse or better. That has to be checked out. But unfortunately,
I can immediately. That's really great that you mentioned this, because my imagination is going now as a defender, and I can immediately. Well, against queen f4, perhaps I can immediately, I think, see a huge problem with this move. This is another great moment, actually.
Oh,
to stop
it is.
The recording.
Oh, yeah, I see it too now.
I can see an immediate problem. Let's see if the viewers at home can see it as well.
Yes, exactly. Why could this actually backfire to put the queen to f4? Pause now if you want to. I think bishop d6 is the move, right?
No, it's not.
Oh,
it's
no.
not what I was thinking. No, it wasn't bishop d6. I mean, this move does...
because then the queen? Yeah.
Yeah, we do get the queens off the board, but this position is probably still winning for white. For example,
okay.
After takes and bishop f4, hitting the knight, and then the bishop goes to e5 next with the pin.
Yeah, I thought the knight goes to e4 and...
I can just take it. This knight, sorry.
Yes.
That's true, actually. Sorry.
And then if you take it... No.
The black survives here. No,
because
you're right.
Out of a sudden, black comes out of this misery a bit. Yeah,
but okay, I can also take here, right, and get that extra pawn. Yeah. But again, this is almost, once again, this insurance policy concept, right?
Okay.
But there's an even, I think there's a great resource here for black.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't see it yet. Interesting. So is it like... what could it be? Well, anyway, there's a move I was looking at before, but it looks so crowded. It doesn't look good. But what about knight g8?
No, it's not. It's not knight g8. No.
Okay.
I mean, knight g8 is also a really important concept in a lot of these positions, and in fact, this might be decent here. This might be decent.
Yeah. But it
still
looks dangerous, though, for some reason. But okay, but now you have to solve it, Lawrence. What is the move?
I'll show you guys. It's the move knight g4 check.
Yeah, I saw that too.
You should always look out for counter checks as well. And after h takes g4, bishop g5 is what I was thinking.
Oh,
with the skewer down here. Now, obviously, if we move the queen, he just takes the bishop. And queen e5 check, this was the last piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
I saw out the corner of my eye, we can go f6. And...
but what? Now we can take the bishop on g5.
You can do. But after h takes g5, even in the worst case scenario, let's say h takes g5.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what the prognosis is after pawn takes queen.
Okay.
Even this is... it's probably better for white. It's probably good for white.
Yes.
So let's take on g5. Now the queen has to move. Oops, sorry, let's say it goes to g3.
Yeah.
Even this position, though, if you compare it to before, I mean, black is not material down. He can play rook h8 check. His king's got safety. He can also go queen. Oh, sorry, he can't go. He'll blunder the queen. Queen c7 actually blunders the queen. But it just feels as though, right, that black is... that black is...
well, of course, the king is not restricted anymore, and out of a sudden, the pieces can move. So there must be something better for white.
Yeah, exactly.
The other insurances were pulling off stronger. So, yeah, it cannot be that. Okay.
Exactly.
So, queen f4 is not...
Yeah, queen f4 is not the way.
That's a nice counter with the knight.
Dismissed your immediate instinct with bishop takes h6. And again, the order in which you should be looking at this is after knight takes bishop takes h6 actually has to be the first move you look at because it's a check, right?
Right.
You either look at queen
right.
g3 check or bishop takes h6 check. So let's analyze.
I punished the tactic laws, Lawrence.
Apologies. You gotta follow the laws of the tactics.
Yes. Now.
Okay. Now
let's take with the king and see what happens.
Well, I guess we it's not the only move. Yeah, king h8 actually has to be analyzed, but let's take with the king first because that's obviously critical and we need to make sure. So the follow-up here is standard.
It almost looks as if it has to be queen to e or f4. E3 or f4.
No difference. It's a check.
Yeah.
The king has to go back. Obviously, again, you don't. Well, king h5, knight g3 is mate. So let's just.
Yeah. So that's.
But it's obvious if the king has to come up, we're good. And now the following sequence is pretty standard.
Okay. Queen g5 check. Oh, this is actually really working. King has to move to g8.
Okay.
And now for our final blow, we just take the knight on f6.
Ooh, careful.
Uh-oh.
Careful. Now that is definitely a move that exists in a lot of these different positions. But here I'm not sure it does. Because after bishop takes f6, I don't see mate. Queen h7, king f8, the king runs away.
Yeah.
And the standard pattern is to go bishop here, check, check, and then go check. But in this particular position, the bishop obviously defends f7. If that bishop wasn't there, it would work. But it doesn't.
Okay, can I... What happens after... I know it is slow, but I just saw it out of the peak of my eye.
Yeah.
What happens... Yeah, as you take... Bishop takes, bishop check on h7, king goes to to f8 immediately. Oh, it cannot. Okay, bishop g6.
Yeah.
King to g8, queen h7, king f8, and now knight to f4. So I'm attacking the defender, and you cannot take back because it's checkmate.
Yeah, so but it feels as though giving black the additional tempo here means something. For example, again, what if I go queen c7, pinning the knight?
G3 was the idea.
G3.
So now you cannot take my bishop anymore anyway.
Yeah, but you're not actually threatening mate. Knight takes e6, rook takes e6, for example, is not mate.
Yeah.
So I could play, for example, a move like bishop g7 here.
Okay. Yeah, it still looks as if it's not over. So, okay. No, so I have this thing in my head. Now, in a game, if I would be in a game, where to stop? Because I'm seeing like, okay, but then maybe the rook goes to f1 after that and stuff like this.
Yeah, but it's all, but there's the doubt, right? There's this question of doubt in your mind. You would not put your house on the fact that attack is checkmating.
Thinking in bets.
Right. So you then have to say, okay, well, if I don't find anything else, I can really investigate that.
Oh, that's a very, very good solution.
So if I don't find an alternative idea, I'll investigate that.
So you put this idea with all those ideas, which are very complicated, you put them into a drawer.
Exactly.
And say, like, I'll open you later if I cannot find the better solution.
Correct.
Great.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that a lot. Okay, cool.
So...
Yeah. So it's not good to take with the rook on f6 after all, yet. If we don't find something better.
Right. So what else can we play here? Now, rook takes f6 is the first move you look at, but then the second move is... also very, very standard.
One of the favorite maneuvers of Svetlana Demchenko, as we figured out in one of our last shows. She loves to shift the rook to f3.
And there you go. And then it becomes very clear that rook g3 check is threatening to mate.
Yeah.
Because if the knight blocks, again, just to illustrate the knight block, now
it's check.
Oh, sorry, check. We can take, and then go here.
Then we have that resource. Yeah, that's nice.
So rook f3 is threatening to checkmate. And it becomes very obvious very quickly that black cannot do anything here, because if the knight jumps into e4, stopping this, we can just take, or we can give the check immediately. We don't even have
That's
to.
nice. Yeah, that's easier.
Yeah, exactly. So this,
Or is it? Because then the bishop goes to g5. Now I'm seeing that again. Sorry.
you mean on in this variation, knight here and bishop g5. Well, bishop g5, the worst case we can just take.
Oh, because we cannot even take back.
Yeah.
That'll teach him. Good. Okay.
Yeah. So instead, probably we have to investigate knight g4 check again. This is one of black's big resources in the whole position. And you should have that actually in your
system, because we were looking at it earlier.
Exactly. And after h takes g4, then move bishop g5, attacking the queen, giving the king an escape route to e7. But this is where, given the fact that black has had to remember, actually, we're 2 pieces down, so black has sacrificed a piece back. So we do have to look at this position and carry on.
Okay, yes.
But it feels as though we're in a position to capitalize. For example, what is the move here that you think you would play? I think we can rule out queen h8 check, because king e7 is already annoying, right?
For you at home, you have the position on the board, hopefully. Also, you can always download it, right? There is a download option. Put it in your ChessBase. Leave Fritz 18 off for a moment, but because I can see a lot of candidate moves again. So one would be very slow, but probably okay. No. What have we just learned, Arne? First the checks, and then we can look at other things. So what about rook f7 check?
Oh yeah, we could do rook f7 check, for
Bishop
sure.
takes back. And then our rook goes to f1.
Yeah, now this is, but again, it feels like, is that move necessary as well, right? For example, now he's got this idea of queen c7 check.
Annoying check.
Now, I don't know. I mean, maybe we can still go, I don't know, king h1, and potentially this position is still decent, but I have some kind of, he's protected it. Like, for example, here, what if he now plays a move like rook h6, threatening this? Terrible. Suddenly you start to panic as white, right? Because he's managed to defend and gain quite an important tempo. So we've just lost the
initiative. By the way, if you're wondering at home, why not king g1? Because bishop e3, and that is not good.
So instead, I would say, okay, is it necessary to play rook takes f7 when I can see is it necessary to do this? How else can we play? Because you very quickly see that rook takes f7 and queen c7 is a problem.
Yes. Now, yes. And also, and funnily enough, it's because of the fact that the bishop is then gone on e6 to lead the rook to e6. So what about if we just double up the rooks immediately? We
double up the rooks.
That was the first idea.
It's a nice move. It's a useful move. And we're threatening mate in 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So rook goes here.
Maybe the queen follow up with the check again.
Yeah, so queen c7 check.
King h1. No, king h1 isn't even, that's also not a threat anymore. So king could even go to, I guess,
can go to g1 even now. Yeah, right.
Because now
G1.
there's a rook. Yeah.
And this is a very different position to what we just saw, because the bishop can't come to e3. The rook can't come to e6.
Yes.
This bishop can't move. So black is actually, you stare at this for 1 second and you realize black is in total Zugzwang here. He can't move the king to e7 because rook takes f7 wins. Yep. So rook e7 is met by queen h8. Actually, it's a weird middle game
Zugzwang situation. Yeah, funny. Yeah, this was always, and this was one of the motives right from the very start that you could see. Was the, if you have the evaluation, which we found out about, was that black could not really move that much. The pieces were all in the back. And with the follow-ups we had right now, we were showing like, okay, we will use this weakness, and now we have black in a terrible position. I don't see anything actually what black can really play
No,
here.
he can't do anything. And in the meantime, white has got a lot of ways to improve. But of course, the
Bishop
most
G6, for
exactly
example.
Bishop G6 just ends the affair immediately, right? Because suddenly we have all of this stuff.
B6.
Oh yeah, B6. He can do this, but well, now for example, Queen H8 check and Rook takes.
Ah, yeah. We just end. Oh, yeah. Again, awkward.
King D8. But you know, I'm just.
Oh, this is beautiful.
I mean, even this is, you know, king here, and then
Yeah.
worst case scenario, we're up 4
Okay,
pawns.
another insurance, but this is a clear insurance.
But
No,
there are
that's
just
too
many
pawns,
ways here.
yes.
I mean, that something here should just tell you, okay, if he can't defend against all threats.
Yes.
So then it means we have to go all the way back, because after bishop takes h6, he probably has to avoid it with king to h8.
How often did it happen to you in the very beginning of your career that you were having those tactical situations, and then you had it thought all the way through, and they were like, okay, now I'm moving this, and then you remembered after making the move, oh, but there was this other variation where the king could go there or this or something like that.
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah, I think it happens to everybody all the time.
So. Yeah, it happens to me all the time.
Because I forgot about it.
But I have got, when I get to this positions, what I do have a clear sense that king takes h6 will be analyzed, and then king h8. And if he plays king h8, I'm also not unhappy. I've got 2 pawns for the piece, and my attack continues, right? And here, again, white has got many decent moves, but I know we're a bit short on time. And are we going to do the
tactics training? Not today, because this is just a perfect.
Okay, all right. Well, then
next time.
Let's do this as a position for our readers, our viewers. It's white to play. Probably there are a number of good moves, but there's one particular move that I liked more than any that was actually played by white in this position.
Oh.
So let's see if we can get that.
Okay, pause the video, people.
Pause the video.
And take a deep look at this. I won't take a too deep look because I will already try to move our story forward a bit. So, well, I have a move which doesn't look that spectacular, to tell you the truth, which is Queen G3.
Now, that's definitely one of the moves you have to consider.
Yeah.
Threatening mate.
Then the
rook. After rook to G8.
And queen to H4. And this is how far I thought.
Ooh.
I see, unfortunately, that is not working at all.
Check. Winning the queen.
That's
very unfortunate.
Yeah, that might not be so good, right?
You know, but I'm really glad you did it, because actually,
I'm sorry. Although we
yeah,
have to still calculate, because I'm seeing it as this is such an unbelievable game. My goodness. Yeah. What about queen taking on G4?
Yeah, I know you want to go rook takes F7, but the worst case I can go rook takes, right?
And then we do not have enough resources?
Not really. I mean, something has clearly gone horribly wrong if we suddenly have this position, right? But it's a good try. You want to give it one more go?
Okay. Now, could it actually be... No. Could it be bishop G7 check? And then the queen to G3?
No, because again, he's got this knight G4.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that is interesting. I am a little bit lost here. How did you do at home?
How did you do? Well, let me.
Yes, please. Help.
Tell you. Okay, what was played, and I think it's a really, really, really nice move. Okay, white here played the move bishop to F4.
Oh.
to try and put the bishop on e5. That bishop ends up on e5, pinning the knight. We have free reign. And
Unexpected.
yeah, and actually, it's really difficult to get out of. And after king g7, queen g3 check, things were a little different, right? Because now king f8, bishop h6 is mate. And if king h8, now we can go queen h4 check. King g7 and something like bishop e5 is obviously crushing with, two threats here that
Yeah,
are.
or what we were, yeah, exactly. Or we just go queen
Or queen
g5.
h6 check,
Or
sorry,
yeah, that's even faster than
even this
g5.
and
Yeah.
bishop e5
Yes, yes.
or something, some variation of this.
Yeah, this is done. This is over.
We're winning a piece back and the attack continues, right? So after queen g3 check, again, black's only resources to play knight g4. But now we can just take. At some point, sometimes you can just take a piece. And here, bishop g5. I mean, black can try and struggle on. We are a pawn up, but the position still doesn't hold for black. For example, you can give a check. And in fact, white here has got a number of very nice moves. But one very nice move is actually to just play rook takes f6, by the way. This is a lovely move. And after bishop takes f6 to play g5.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and the point is...
This game is insane.
Yeah, and after takes, clearly it doesn't work. King here, we can take here with check, and it's forced mate. King here, we can just go check, let's say. And if king here, we can just go check. I mean, there are many variations, but the moves flow here. You don't even have to be precise anymore. Yeah. Rook takes f6 is very, very nasty. I mean, this would be the typical defensive try, I think, by black. But yeah, rook takes f6 just ends the game immediately, because this is a lovely follow through. So the lessons of this position are pretty standard. Make sure that the order of the moves you calculate are correct. Make sure that you are aware of your opponent's resources. And in this position, the resource in every single variation was this knight g4 check, right?
Yes.
That was his resource. So as a result, when you're calculating these lines, you should always think, okay, knight g4 check is always, I have to check knight g4 doesn't kind of help.
Interrupt everything.
Right, or interrupt. And then after that, you know, everything kind of flowed. And the other key lesson, I think, is this concept of insurance policy. How many of those variations did we see where we found a line where we're a pawn up or whatever, yes, 2 pawns up, or positionally we've got a great position. We put that in the drawer, we put that on the side and say, okay, that's my insurance. Let's see if I can find something more destructive first.
My idea about it is that Magnus Carlsen, let's take like the biggest of the biggest, he would probably, because he's just such a good chess player, he would probably calculate until he has an insurance and then go like, okay, that's enough for me to win this easily. And maybe not even think further. What do you think?
What I don't understand exactly.
So Magnus Carlsen, I'm always referring to the game against Nepomniachtchi because there were some tactics where he could have won the game quicker. But he decided to, no, I'm just taking a route where I have 1 pawn more, which is enough in the rook endgame to just win it easily. And sometimes I think that if you have this insurance and it's good enough, maybe a pawn more, or maybe the position is just better, that some people are stopping there and go like, oh, I'll take it. I'll take that. I won't calculate any further.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, these top guys, they just know as well, right? They just have, they calculate much better. They understand in concepts of insurance a lot better. Yeah, I mean, it's just they just enact what I've been describing in a kind of much more efficient way.
Yeah.
And they're more precise. and they can go deeper as well. They can actually visualize positions. So, for example, in this position here, Arne, after f6, I would be fully expecting Magnus to have analyzed all the way, bishop takes h6, bishop takes g7, all the way. I mean, there's just no question that he didn't, like, there's no question even that he didn't get to here if he had this in the game.
Oh my God.
Like, if he finds bishop f4, which I guess he does, he probably does the whole thing all the way from the starting position.
Wow.
And that's the difference, right? Now, of course, our viewers, our readers can't do that. But if you follow the principles step by step that I've been describing, you get there anyway. You get to the same solution.
Love that.
And that's the point.
That was,
so I think that,
yeah, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think that was a really useful position because
Absolutely.
it's just such a position that so many strong intermediate and club players could get. This looks familiar.
Truly. Do you know which opening it was, by the way?
No, I don't.
No, okay.
I just have the position.
Yeah, I will try to figure this out because that's also quite interesting after all.
It could have been something. I don't know. I actually just don't know what opening it was. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Trent's Tactics. Thanks so much, Lawrence, for this really entertaining puzzle. My goodness. And we will have an episode sooner or later where we will have a complete tactics training instead because we skipped it twice already. Sometimes the puzzles are just too exciting and have too much depth to even take it a step further. So we will see each other soon again. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.
See you later.